Hey, it's Xuan from the Homeschool Front, and today I want to talk to you about scavenger hunts and how you can utilize them to make your homeschooling super fun this summer. So let's get to it. Scavenger hunts are games where an organizer creates a list of specific items and participants complete all those tasks on the list. Usually players work in small groups, sometimes they do it individually. It just depends how you want to set the game up. And the goal is to be the first to complete the list. Or if you want to, especially with little kids, you can turn it into a cooperative game. Preparing for a scavenger hunt is pretty simple. First, you need to decide on the location. Where is it happening? The day and the time, because all those come into factor depending on what type of scavenger hunt you're going to do. Next, you want to select objects for your participants to find, and they can either be common objects that are found, plainly in sight, or objects that they may have to do a little hunting for, a little digging. And if you wanted to make it more challenging, you can create clues instead of saying specifically what the item is. You may also need to do some research if you're going to do a scavenger hunt in a new to you location or somewhere that's not home. And then don't forget to type up and print out your scavenger hunt list so that all participants can have a copy. All right, so next, types of scavenger hunts. So the first one and the most easiest to do is like a backyard scavenger hunt, which is great for those of us that do have outdoor space. Items usually consist of everyday items that are in your backyard. If you want to make it more challenging, find things that start with each letter of the alphabet. Or maybe you want to study plants and insects and you could have your kids look for certain plants and insects. Or you can be kind of creative and find items where you can create something new. That's really great for older kids and more creative artsy kids as well. Next is the neighborhood scavenger hunt. It is a great way to explore your community. You can even map out your neighborhood at the same time. So geography skills there. Maybe you moved and you're new to the community. That's an awesome way to discover what's near you. Find items that are lying around or find landmarks or something like that. So make it challenging. You can hide items around your neighborhood and create clues for your kids to solve. Like I said before about mapping your neighborhood, you could also create like a treasure map or a trail map for your kids to follow to find like one grand kind of a prize kind of a thing. You can find specific locations or landmarks, and you can combine all of that to make like an ultimate neighborhood scavenger hunt. All right, next is a nature scavenger hunt, which is something we like to do when we go hiking or go to the beach. So obviously a nature scavenger hunt takes place outdoors, usually in your backyard or a park or on a hike. And the goal is to search for items that are either commonly or not so commonly found out in nature. You can find a lot of different scavenger hunt lists online, but if you want a specific nature scavenger hunt list, I do have one linked down below. I'd love it if you checked it out and used it. And if you do use it, make sure you tag me on Instagram. I would love to see it in action. That would be pretty cool. So if you want to make your own though, you can make it a little bit more challenging. Instead of like a traditional list of items, you can create clues or questions for your children to solve. You can find specific plants and animals to your area. You can find items in nature to build your own human nest, which is always pretty cool to do. You can have your kids identify animal tracks or even scat, which is kind of fun to do. All right, next is a photo scavenger hunt, which is pretty easy to do now that we have these cell phones and digital cameras and so forth. So a photo scavenger hunt is where you take pictures of the items that you are collecting. And the pictures can either be posted on social media, or you can send it as a text message to whoever, or maybe even make a video, who knows. So instead of a traditional list with a photo scavenger hunt, you can create challenges or clues to make it a little bit more interesting. So maybe you want them to eat a certain type of food, like eat a taco from this taco stand or eat lumpia from this Filipino restaurant or something like that. Or maybe you want your participants to find a specific location with a landmark, and you want to have them take a picture next to the statue to prove that they were there. There's so many different ideas that you can come up with. And I think this would be really great to do when you're traveling, visiting a new town, or maybe even just like pretending to be a tourist in your own town or neighboring towns. I think that would be really fun to do. And probably something that I'm gonna do with my kids this summer, because we seem to be getting out of town a little bit more often than usual. And then you can also combine with the nature scavenger hunt. You can have your kids take pictures of the plants and animals that they find, and use those pictures to identify them online using apps like Seek. Another one is Picture This, and then the third one we like to do is Merlin Merlin bird? Yeah, Merlin bird ID. Okay, next is a field trip scavenger hunt. It's a great way to explore zoos and museums and more. I used to do this with my students back when I was teaching. I would prepare a scavenger hunt list for them to do because it just helps make it a bit more interactive, because not all museums are interactive. And then also I think it's really great with the little ones because their attention span is a little bit shorter, and so this will keep them engaged a little bit longer so you can last at the museum a little bit longer. So I don't know about you, my kids, my little ones, maybe can do an hour at a museum. Anything to keep them engaged and to enjoy our day a little bit longer helps out a lot. Of course, this is going to take you a little bit of extra effort, especially if it's not a museum or a zoo that you normally go to or go to that often. And so you will have to do a little research. You want to make it a little bit more challenging for your older kids. Instead of naming the picture you want them to find, describe it for them and see if they can find it that way. So like at the zoo or botanical garden, instead of the common name of the animal or plant, you can use their scientific name. Going to like a natural history museum, maybe find something that's often overlooked. And then finally we have a nighttime scavenger hunt, which is awesome to do. The summer nights are just perfect unless you live somewhere that has a lot of bugs and maybe you don't want to go outside at night. Nighttime scavenger hunts are really fun to do when your kids have sleepovers, or if you're like on a camping trip, that would be really awesome. Your list obviously should have items that you're going to find at night. Be sure to get your kids some flashlights or headlamps, and that your location is nice and secure. So obviously if it's your backyard, you're golden. In your front yard, maybe set some boundaries so your kids know where not to pass or where not to go to. So you want to make it more challenging? How about listing the constellations and having your kids find them? Make a list of animals that usually come out at night and plants that make an appearance as well. Some flowers only bloom at night, and those are really fun to find and to identify. Usually you can identify them by scent before you do by sight. You can also have your kids identify sounds in the night, and it doesn't have to be animals either. It can be like, can you hear the siren or the car or the motorcycle zoom by, or someone's car alarm, they're locking their door, or something like that. So you can get really creative with it. Scavenger hunts are a really fun way to take your homeschool outside and to explore. And it can be tailored to any age group, any interest, any topic. So you can get really creative here. And I really encourage you to make homeschooling fun, or just make summer fun, or just use that creativity. Have your kids create the scavenger hunts if you don't want to do it. So there's just so much fun that you can do. If you found value in this video, make sure you hit that like button and leave a comment down below. Let me know, what is your favorite scavenger hunt? I'd love to know. I think the diversity of homeschooling is so awesome, and all the different ideas that we all have, and just sharing that knowledge online with each other is just going to make our homeschool so much better. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell so that you can get alerts the next time I upload a video. And I hope you stick around. Until next time.